I'm excited about this topic because you can build a faceless YouTube channel around any topic, and if you do it right, it can change your life. Today, I'm breaking down 10 faceless niches that can generally out earn a salary if you set it up right. Any video can be made with a screen recorder, a simple presentation, and a voiceover. It can be your voice or it can be an AI voice that sounds natural. It doesn't need to be complicated, and you don't need to be on camera. It's all about delivering valuable information for people that want it or need it. If you don't know me, I'm Tim Anderson, and I've built 16 faceless channels over the past 3 years. We're going to talk about the pros and cons of each niche, and I'm also going to give you the real RPM range for each niche on this list, so you know what a view is actually worth before you commit to it. And I'll be honest with you about the part most people skip, which is that AdSense alone almost never beats a professional salary. What beats a salary is the business you build around the channel. So I'll tell you what each niche sells, not just what it earns per view. So let's get started. So the first niche is B2B software walkthroughs. And you probably think that software reviews are done to death, but the crowded part is the consumer apps, and the wide open part is the boring software that companies use. Almost nobody is making clean walkthroughs of dispatch and routing software for commercial HVAC fleets, field service platforms for plumbing operations, or job costing tools for roofing contractors. There are so many software programs out there that people need help learning how to use. The entire video you can make is a screen recording of the product with your voice over the top, walking a buyer through the setup, the mistakes that cost them money, and whether the tool fits their operation. And you can put this in your description as an affiliate. You can think of it like being a product demo rep, except the demo runs 24 hours a day and the buyer finds you instead of you calling them. Statly currently tracks the RPM in this category between $10 and $32, which is 3 to 10 times what a general entertainment YouTube channel pulls. The skills needed here are patience with software, the ability to explain a workflow and order, and enough business context to know why a feature matters to a contractor running a business. The pros are that these affiliate programs pay recurring commissions, the audience arrives ready to buy, and the videos stay relevant for years. The cons are that you have to actually learn each tool, and product updates will force you to refresh your best performing videos, potentially. But overall, I'm giving this an opportunity score of 8.5 out of 10. Why? Because the search demand is already there. The buyers have real budgets, and nobody serious is covering these tools. Next is AI workflow automations. This is not another list of 10 AI tools saturated, and those views are hard to get. The version that pays is one specific business problem solved end-to-end, like automating invoice matching for a commercial roofing company, or job intake for an HVAC service desk. You record the build on screen, narrate the logic as you go, and show the finished thing running at the end. And if you ever run a team, you already know which tasks eat the most hours, which is a research advantage most 22-year-old creators simply do not have. And if you are really ambitious, you can build a program using AI to solve these problems and sell it directly. Statly tracks tech and business automation content between $8 and $30 RPM. The bigger money here is the server sitting under the video, because a viewer who watches you automate their exact problem for 15 minutes is about as warm as a lead gets. The skills needed are basic logic, a willingness to sit with the tool until it works, and clear narration of what you're clicking and why. The pros are a high buyer intent, obvious upsell paths, and an audience that keeps generating new problems for you to solve. The cons are that the tools change fast, so a build video can go stale in months rather than years. So it's not necessarily full evergreen videos, but they can be if you do just a general process. Overall, I'm giving this one an opportunity score of 8 out of 10. Why? The demand is enormous and the monetization is immediate, but the shelf life is shorter than anything else on this list. The next niche is retirement and pension explainers. This is one of the highest paying advertising categories on the entire platform, and it happens to be one of the easiest things to produce faceless. The format is a slideshow with voiceover, charts, and simple animations, explaining one decision at a time. Think withdrawal order, survivor benefits, what happens to a pension when someone changes employers, or how one specific tax rule actually applies. And to be clear, This is education, not personalized financial advice. Stanley's benchmarks put finance and retirement between $12 and $45 RPMs, which is the top of everything we're covering. The skills needed here are accuracy, comfort reading source documents, and the discipline to tell the boring truth instead of giving misinformation. The pros are top-tier ad rates, an audience with money, and content that stays valid for years at a time. The cons are that mistakes here have real consequences for viewers, and the research load per video is heavier than most niches. I'm giving this an opportunity score of 9 out of 10. Why? The pay-per-view is the best on this list, and the audience is exactly the demographic advertisers fight over. And a quick thing here before we keep going. Drop a comment below, tell me which of these niches appeals to you and why. I read every comment, and the most requested ones usually turn into full videos. All right, let's get back to the list. The next category, or niche, is career pivots for experienced professionals. Almost all career content on YouTube is aimed at people in their 20s or 30s, which leaves the 45 to 55 or older demographic completely unserved. That viewer is searching for how to move from one industry to another without starting over at the bottom, and they're searching with real urgency. The videos are voiceover slides, resume walkthroughs, and simple frameworks for translating 20 years of experience into a new field. The Learning Revolution Index tracks this education category at an RPM of $7 to $9, so it's a little bit lower than the other ones. And that is exactly why the ads are not the point here. The business around this one is obvious because the resume reviews, interview coaching, and transition roadmaps are all things people pay for as soon as they find you. The skills needed are hiring context, plain language explanations, and the ability to be specific about industries rather than generic about mindset. And the pros are a viewer motivated by a deadline, very low production cost, and a direct path from video to paid service. The cons are that the topic drifts into generic advice fast, so you have to keep it anchored to named roles in named industries. Think about being very specific for a job in a specific industry that someone wants. Overall, an opportunity score 8 out of 10 here. Why? The ad rate is weak, but the demand is steady. The competition is aimed at the wrong age group, and if you do it right, this can pick up quickly for you. Next up is bookkeeping and small business tax basics. Every year, millions of people start a business and immediately have questions they're embarrassed to ask out loud. What can I write off? How do I pay myself? When do I need to register? And what does an accountant actually need from me? You answer one of these per video on screen, inside a spreadsheet, or an accounting platform with your voice walking through every step. The strongest version of this is aimed at the trades. So think how a plumbing operation should handle vehicle write-offs or how a roofing contractor should treat subcontractor payments. This is education rather than advice for one person's situation. So keep that line clear. Outlier Kit tracks the tax and accounting sub-niche between $15 and $25 RPM. The audience here owns businesses, which means they can expense whatever you sell, and that changes what you're able to charge. The skills needed here are accuracy, familiarity with at least one accounting platform, and the patience to explain the same concept 5 different ways. The pros are a buyer with a budget, evergreen search demand, and a clean path into templates, courses, and done-for-you services. The cons are that the rules change by region and by year, so you'll be refreshing content on a schedule. I'm giving this an opportunity score of 7.5 out of 10. Why? The search intent is high, the viewer is a business owner, and the products almost write themselves. But you need to understand accounting and taxes, so you don't provide the wrong information. And by the way, everything I'm describing here follows the same basic pattern. A faceless channel that feeds a business instead of a channel that just collects views and hopes AdSense covers the bills. I put the entire system that I'm talking about into the Creator Business Playbook, which walks through niche selection, the offer that sits behind the channel, and how the two connect. So you can get early access to the Creator Business Playbook by clicking the link below. And if you'd rather not spend time figuring everything out on your own, I take on a small number of people for one-on-one coaching where we build this exact infrastructure together. Both links are in the description. All right, so let's keep going. Next niche is licensing and compliance explainers. This is one of the least glamorous niches you will ever hear about, and that is exactly why it works. If you know anything about this topic, it can be very lucrative. Commercial contractors, electricians, nurses, real estate agents, truck drivers, etc., all have to renew licenses, satisfy continuing education, and keep up with the rules that change constantly. The videos you make will review the forms and requirements, walking someone through what to file, when to file it, or what it costs to file, or what it costs them if they don't. If you worked inside any regulated industry, you already have knowledge here that no outsourced script writer can fake. Research the specific requirements once, create the video, and then you have a money-churning asset forever. And you can do this over and over in any profession. Statly shows legal and compliance content holding an RPM between $10 and $35. The skills needed are precision, a tolerance for reading regulations, and the discipline to tell viewers exactly which jurisdiction and which period for your information applies to. The pros are almost no competition, a captive audience with a legal obligation, and an obvious product in the form of prep courses and checklists. The cons are that the content is regional, so a channel serving one state or county does not automatically serve another. Overall, I give this an opportunity score of 8.5 out of 10. Why? The competition is close to zero and the buyer is compelled to take action, but the audience per video is smaller than the broad niches. And you can build simple digital products like a workbook or checklist that you can sell to any eager buyer. Niche number 7 is real estate deal breakdowns. I'm not talking about motivational real estate content because that lane is full and the pay does not match the noise. I'm talking about the math, where you take a real commercial listing, run the numbers on screen, and show whether the deal works or fails. Everything is a spreadsheet, a map, and public data, so the production is genuinely simple once you build the template. And you're probably thinking, Tim, I don't know anything about that, which is a fair statement, but you can learn, right? With AI, you can build a business around these niches. You're not the guru expert, but you're providing a place for someone to learn and get started. Statly consistently tracks real estate investing content between $10 and $38 RPM. The skills needed are comfort with numbers, access to local market data, and the honesty to show the deals that fail as often as the ones that work. The pros are high-value advertisers, an audience with capital, and natural products in the form of calculators, market reports, and consulting. The cons are that market conditions shift, and analysis videos age faster than pure educational videos. I'm giving this one a 7 out of 10. Why? The pay-per-view is strong and the audience has money, but you're fighting a lot of loud personality-driven channels for the same attention. All right, let's keep moving. Number 8 on the list is insurance and employee benefits. Open enrollment comes every fall, and every fall millions of people stare at benefits packages they don't understand. High deductible versus low deductible. What an HSA actually does, whether supplemental coverage is worth it, and how a specific plan handles a specific procedure. The videos are voiceover documents and simple comparison charts, which means the whole channel can be reduced from your desk. The insurance category sits around 9 to 11 RPM, which looks modest until you realize insurance is consistently one of the highest bidding advertiser categories on the platform, and that bidding pressure lifts everything around it. The skills needed are accuracy, a clear head for comparisons, and the ability to explain a trade-off without staring someone into a product. The pros are seasonal demand you can plan for, strong ad competition, and an easy path into consulting for small employers. The cons are that regulations restrict what you can say in some regions, so your language has to stay educational rather than promotional. Overall, this is an opportunity score of 8 out of 10. Why? The demand comes back on the calendar you can build a production schedule around, and the advertiser competition is relentless. So, as we go through this list, picking the niche is often the easiest part, but the problem that stalls people is setting up the channel and creating and publishing videos, and creating the business around the channel. I can help you with that. We can schedule a one-on-one talk about your situation, what your options are, and see if this would be a good fit for you. The link is in the description for the one-on-one call. Number 9 is supply chain and logistic breakdowns. Really boring, right? This niche blew up in general interest over the past few years, and most of the coverage is news reactions rather than the actual explanation. The durable version is how a specific thing moves, why specific costs exist, and what one disruption does to an industry. The visuals are maps, diagrams, stock footage, and the whole thing runs on narration. If you spent a career in procurement, freight, manufacturing, and operations, you can explain things here that a researcher simply cannot fake. Statly tracks business and industry content around a broad range of $10 to $40 RPMs. The skills needed are systems thinking, clear narration, and the ability to turn a complicated process into a diagram somebody can follow. The pros are broad appeal, strong browser performance, and training or consulting work on the back end from companies in your own industry. The cons are that pure news coverage burns out quickly, so you have to build toward evergreen explanations instead. I'm giving this an opportunity score of 7 out of 10. Why? The audience is large and the authority transfers well into paid work, but the ad rates sit below finance and software. And finally, number 10, operations and project management systems. This one's near and dear to my heart because in my previous career, this is what I did. Every company runs on processes, and almost every company runs them badly. The videos you produce are screen recordings where you build a real system from empty to finished, like a hiring pipeline or a client delivery sequence for a commercial plumbing operation. And if you're really good, you can take the AI angle, showing companies how to incorporate AI into their processes and systems also. The viewer is usually a manager or an owner trying to fix something as soon as possible, which is about as high intent as an audience gets. Productivity and operations content currently pulls between $10 and $32 RPMs. The template you build in the video becomes a lead magnet, and the lead magnet becomes the front door to potential consulting, affiliate product sales, or even your own digital product. The sky's the limit here in any of these niches. The skills needed are process design, familiarity with platforms your audience may be using, and an ability to explain things clearly. The pros are a business buyer, recurring affiliate revenue from software, and templates you can sell the same week you publish. The cons are that the audience is smaller than the broad niches, and you'll be rebuilding demos as the platforms change, or as your AI systems change. Overall, I give this an opportunity score of 7.5 out of 10. Why? The view counts are modest, but the revenue per viewer is among the highest on this list. So, those are the 10 faceless niches that are great markets and can be built into a real YouTube business. And honestly, any expertise you have can be built into a lucrative YouTube channel. We see this over and over, but I want to be honest with you about the part that decides whether any of this works. Making money is never easy, and it can be simple, but simple and easy are not the same thing. The channel by itself is not the business, and the views by themselves are not income. What turns one of these niches into something that replaces a job is the offering sitting behind the channel and the system that keeps you publishing. So sign up for early access to the Creator Business Playbook from the link in the description, or you can sign up for a one-on-one call with me, and we can determine if coaching will help. Thanks for watching. Let's go make some money. I'll see you in the next video.